Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to today's episode of 10 Minutes English, where we dive deep into the thoughts, habits, and mindsets that shape some of the most successful people on the planet. I'm Julia, your host for this journey, and today we're unpacking the psychology of success, what truly sets high performers apart. Now, when I say high performers, I'm talking about people who consistently operate at the top of their game. Whether they're athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, or even that colleague who always seems to be crushing their goals. You know the type. They make success look effortless, but there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. And today, we're going to dig into the psychology behind that success and explore the habits that make these individuals stand out. Buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the mind of the high performer. Part 1. The mindset behind success. So, let's start with mindset. We hear this word all the time, but what does it really mean when it comes to success? There's a key concept here that separates high performers from the rest of the pack, and it's something called the growth mindset. You've probably heard about it before. It's a term coined by Dr. Carol Dweck, but it's worth revisiting because it's foundational to understanding how high performers think. A growth mindset is essentially the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort and persistence. Contrast that with a fixed mindset, where people believe their abilities are static. You're either good at something or you're not. Simple as that. Here's the thing. High performers lean into a growth mindset. They don't see failure as a dead end, but as feedback. They treat challenges as opportunities to grow, rather than as roadblocks, and that's a game changer. Think about someone like Michael Jordan, who was cut from his high school basketball team. A fixed mindset would have told him, "You're just not good enough," and that would have been the end of his story. But Jordan saw that failure as a challenge to improve, not a defining moment. And well, we all know how that turned out. 6 NBA championships later, right? But it's not just about being positive and persevering. A growth mindset is paired with something else that high performers excel at: self-awareness. These people are incredibly in tune with their strengths and weaknesses. They know what they're good at, and more importantly, they know what they need to work on. They don't shy away from discomfort. They embrace it, because they understand that discomfort is where growth happens. Part 2. Habits of high performers. Now that we've touched on mindset, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the habits that fuel high performance. Success isn't just about thinking differently, it's about doing things differently. So what are some of the daily habits that high performers swear by? 1. Consistency. Over intensity. First up, high performers know that consistency trumps intensity every time. Now, don't get me wrong, intensity has its place. Sometimes you need to go all out, give 110%. But what separates the truly successful from the rest is the ability to show up every single day, even when they don't feel like it. Take someone like Kobe Bryant. He was famous for his Mamba mentality, an unrelenting focus on being the best. But what really made Kobe special wasn't just the occasional 4-hour workout. It was that he was doing that every single day. High performers create rituals around their work and stick to them like clockwork. It's not about having one perfect day of productivity. It's about stringing together months, years, even decades of disciplined effort. And here's the psychology behind it. Consistency builds trust in yourself. When you show up day after day, you're proving to yourself that you're reliable, that you can count on your own discipline. That self-trust becomes a cornerstone of your confidence and success. 2. Laser focus and prioritization. The next habit is focus. And when I say focus, I don't just mean working hard. I mean knowing how to prioritize the right things. High performers aren't busy for the sake of being busy. They're selective about where they direct their energy. They know that not all tasks are created equal. Some activities move the needle more than others, and those are the ones they focus on. There's a great concept called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. High performers know how to identify that 20% and double down on it. They aren't afraid to say no to things that don't align with their bigger goals. Steve Jobs, for example, was ruthless about focus. He famously said that saying no to 1,000 good ideas is what made Apple successful. It wasn't about doing more, it was about doing less, but doing it exceptionally well. 3. Intentional rest and recovery. Here's one that might surprise you. High performers know how to rest. And I'm not just talking about sleep, although that's crucial too. I'm talking about intentional recovery periods. You see, success is often romanticized as hustle culture, burning the candle at both ends, grinding 24/7. But the reality is, sustained high performance requires strategic downtime. Athletes like LeBron James and Serena Williams spend almost as much time focusing on recovery, whether that's sleep, nutrition, or mental relaxation, as they do on training. They understand that rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. This concept is applicable far beyond sports. Entrepreneurs, creatives, and leaders who operate at the top of their game build in time for recovery because they know that's how you avoid burnout and keep your brain sharp. Part 3. The role of resilience and adaptability. We've talked about mindset and habits, but I want to take a moment to talk about something that's a bit less glamorous but just as important: resilience. Because let's be honest, success is messy. It's full of setbacks, failures, and moments when you just want to throw in the towel. High performers are incredibly resilient, but it's not because they're immune to failure. They feel the disappointment and frustration just like anyone else, but they've built an internal system for bouncing back. Resilience is like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. It's not just about surviving tough times. It's about using those moments to adapt, adjust, and come back stronger. Think of someone like J.K. Rowling. She was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter finally got picked up. 12. Most people would have quit after 2 or 3. But what kept her going was a deep belief in her work and an even deeper resilience. The ability to keep going, to adapt in the face of rejection or failure, is a defining trait of high performers. Adaptability is key here too. The world is changing faster than ever, and the most successful people are those who can evolve with it. High performers aren't rigid, they're flexible. They don't cling to old strategies when they're no longer working. They're always learning, always iterating, always staying ahead of the curve. Part 4. Purpose-driven performance. I want to close out by talking about one final element that underpins everything we've discussed so far: purpose. High performers don't just chase success for the sake of success. They're driven by something deeper, a sense of purpose, a mission, a why that fuels their ambition. When you look at people like Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, or Simone Biles, there's a common thread. They all have a clear vision of why they do what they do. That sense of purpose gives their work meaning, and it's what keeps them going when things get tough. Without that deeper why, all the discipline, focus, and resilience in the world won't be enough to sustain you over the long haul. Having a strong sense of purpose is like having a North Star. It gives you direction, clarity, and a reason to push through when the road gets rough. It's not about external validation or material success. Those are byproducts. The true fuel for high performance is that internal drive to fulfill a bigger mission. All right, folks, that's a wrap for today's episode. To sum it up, the psychology of success boils down to mindset, habits, resilience, and purpose. High performers aren't born, they're made. It's about cultivating the right mental frameworks, building consistent habits, and pushing through the inevitable setbacks. If you take anything away from today, let it be this: success isn't magic. It's not some elusive trait only a few people have. It's a series of choices, small, daily choices, that add up over time. And if you can start making those choices today, no matter where you're at in your journey, you'll be on your way to building the habits and mindset of a high performer. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay curious, stay motivated, and I'll catch you in the next episode.